I won't talk as much till the end because I'm on the phone.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the In Between the Stitches podcast. I am your host, Brady Wilson, with co-host Chase Olschwinger over the phone. And the funniest part is, so right as I clicked start streaming, you started talking. So that's so the beginning of the episode is just going to be Chase talking about nonsense. I didn't feel like restarting it, so here we go. Happy.
Well, good thing I didn't say anything.
That would have been more than I would have had to restart it. And happy 2026 NFL Draft Eve. Still have a lot of work to do on my end for today. It's going to be a long day. I'm running on about 4 hours sleep, and I don't normally drink energy drinks, but I have already drinking, whatever the word I'm looking for is. That's how tired I am. 1 Red Bull Zero Sugar, and I'll be having a second one later in the day to keep myself going because I have a lot of evaluations to get through as the day goes on. Currently, I am sitting at 126 players watched. I have 24 more to go today. 24. It's a tall task, but yeah, I'm up for it. I'm excited. Obviously, we're going to start with the Dallas Stars, who are in the midst of their own exciting thing. It's kind of, I always feel bad for the Stars and like me in round one, because like the early parts of like round one, I kind of forget about because it's the week of the draft. I did get a chance to go on Monday, and I will officially announce that I am taking sponsorships to go to every Stars home game of the playoffs because I'm 4-0 this year. So if anyone would like to sponsor me, if it's like a Game 7 and we got to get Brady in the building, I will accept money to go to the Stars game. I'll cover parking and food. You buy my ticket. I'll go. Make sure we win that game. Deal. Didn't play great in Game 1. That wasn't what we were looking for.
That puts it nicely.
And then Jake Ottinger stood in his head. He was. We don't win that game if he doesn't play well, especially in the first. I mean, it could have been 3-1 in the first period. Because there were multiple multiple glove saves where it's just like he got it. He got it. He got the puck. That's as simple as I can say it. He played great. I thought Rantanen looked a little bit more like himself. Tyler Myers had a really good game. I thought that overall the team played more Dallas Stars style hockey. I do think it's fun that Foligno said, in the post game that they don't think that the Stars can hang with them 5-on-5, which I know Gully said that, we don't really do bulletin board material and we're not really. That's bullcrap. I'm gonna call BS here and say they do have bulletin board material. They're just not gonna say it's bulletin board material because that's how you get on the bulletin board is by saying things like that. But I don't think Gully is probably pretty happy about that comment. I don't think any of the guys are going to be happy about that comment. And, that's the type of thing that when it happens, if you're a Stars fan, I see that and I started laughing because I'm like, okay, if that can't motivate this group, nothing can. And, whenever you'd think, Chase, you've been around sports pretty good amount of time. You'd think that
I'd say so.
You'd think that whenever a player does this, it always seems like they lose, like their team loses. So you'd think they'd stop doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
In every sport, it's not completely universal. There's been times where the guys, to say he stood on business, but for the most part, whenever a player does something like this to the media, they say, "Oh, they can't hang with us," or "Oh, this," or "Oh, that." They say something that irks the Alex Bregman. People were wondering what would happen if the Astros didn't win the division. I guess we'll never know. Come to find out, that was in the Rangers clubhouse. They had that posted, right? To remind them that this team thought, that's what they thought of them. And that's a hell of a reminder. And so you'd think that players would stop saying things like this because it usually sports karma steps in and says, no, you can't do that. So I hope
my favorite situation is going back to that is just something from 2022 when the Suns go up 2-0.
Oh yeah,
and they're talking smack, they're shoving around, and Luke is walking back to the locker room saying everybody loves to act tough when they're up. Come to know it, Mavs dominate them in Game 7, win the series. So,
but see, that's different. That's different. Is Luka's not saying, "Oh, we're better than them. They're just." He's just saying they're up.
No, they're just talking smack only because they're winning.
Yeah. And that's, Jordan is, that kind of became one of my favorite lines in The Last Dance when he's sitting in there, he's got the cigar in the locker room, his pregame, he's got his baseball bat. He's just kind of, he's just kind of stretching, and it's easy to talk when you're up. It's good trash talker can talk when they're losing. That's a good trash talker. So hopefully we're able to capture the split in Minnesota. Look, it'd be great to capture both. I mean, obviously, and have a chance to come back home Game 5 and put the series away, especially since Colorado's won. Look, the Kings have made it tough on Colorado.
Yeah, overtime win last night for Colorado.
Yeah, but still, the Kings might take one. But more than likely, Colorado's going to sweep them. So you'd like to get out of this series in 5 if you can. 6 would be, you really don't want it to go 7 because it's just they're going to beat you up. That hit from Colin Blackwell was awesome.
That was great.
To see it in person. Again, whenever you see it in person, it's crazy because it feels like you're processing it differently than if you're watching it on TV, right? For example, the moment that sticks out in my head was when Rich Kovian was talking to the bench. Because there was so much happening during that moment because it was, play, they had stopped play. There was so much happening that I took a peek from where I was sitting, and I peeked over and I saw him doing the pointing. And I remarked to the guy that was sitting next to me, because I'd been talking to him for a lot of the game, as I do. I talk to people around me. And the guy was, I said, look at that. Ritzy's talking to McDavid. Like, he's giving him the business down there. And then come to find out, watched the TV copy and went, no, he skated over there and started it's so much fun to see it on the TV copy. And then to see, because I saw it in person, but I was curious how much the TV crew picked up what he was doing. That hit from Blackwell was nasty. It was a great game. We got some lucky bounces. The Robo goal, the Johnston goal, goes off the boards, comes back right behind Volsted's butt. Basically, it's literally the exact same goal that Adam Ernie had earlier in the year, if you remember, where he shot it off the board and it just came back around and hit the skate and went in of the goalie.
Yep.
So it's pretty much the exact same type of goal. And sometimes you look in the playoffs. I know people say, "Oh, it's lucky bounces." Yeah. If that lucky bounce is the overtime winner in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Championship, are you going to care? No.
Nope.
What matters is winning. And so those lucky bounces, if they go, you just want them to go your way more often than not in the playoffs, in my opinion. But game tonight, 8:30. I think it's on TNT, which it's so stupid that they'll have the first 2 on ESPN. Now it's going to be on TNT. I don't know why it switches. Baseball doesn't do this. I don't think basketball does this, Chase, do they?
No, because typically for the first series, whatever you're on, you stay on for the first series. Obviously, when it gets later on, you go to the more...
Because baseball is, because remember, Fox does one of the leagues, and then the Turner broadcasts do the other league. So, all the National League ones, I remember in 2023, Fox got all and then Fox does the World Series, of course. Fox had the American League that year because ESPN has the wild card, but in the DS and the CS, right, it's by league. The American League that year was Fox because we had Joe Davis in the ALDS, the ALCS, and the World Series, right? And then it flip-flops. So I think this year would...
Oh, you're a robot again for me.
Am I a robot again?
Yep. Can't tell what you're saying.
Okay, I'm gonna disconnect from Chase. Can you hold on? Sorry, we've been having some technical difficulties with the phone, so hopefully it doesn't continue to do this, but I'll have to see. Am I still a robot?
I don't know why it's happening.
Am I still a robot, though?
No, you're good.
Okay. So hopefully they win tonight, and we, getting that 2-1 series win. Getting that 2-1 because now it's a 5-game series, right? When you split the first 2, now it becomes a 5-game series. Now it's best of 3. So you really want to...
Also getting that first one, then it puts the pressure on Minnesota to a must-win Game 4, because you don't win Game 4, then you go back to Dallas for an elimination game.
You flip the script because Game 2 felt like a must-win for us, right?
It was, yes.
And then now you win Game 3, you do the same thing to them. So it's just we're just trading blows at this point. Look, they're a really good team. Quinn Hughes, Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, Brock Faber had 2 goals. I mean, they're and then Volsted's playing outstanding right now.
He's a rookie, right?
Yeah, he's a rookie. And one of the best nicknames is they call him the Great Wall of St. Paul. which I think is just look, and I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for good nicknames. So that one, I got to give him credit for that one. But
also, I know I'm sure you saw it on social media after if you didn't really see it in the game. But that move Kaprizov had on Ottinger, where Ottinger he saved it, but the between the legs move from
absolutely
Kaprizov, amazing move, and what a great job for Ottinger to keep his composure.
The defense tightened up later in the second period and then in the third period. The first half of the game, that our defense was letting too many guys pass, and I remarked to the guy sitting next to me, different guy, of course, different game, and I just went, it'd be really great if the Stars, what the Wild are able to do is, okay, Hughes has the puck, so Dallas collapses to Hughes, and then Kaprizov is open. Boldy's open.
Right.
Faber's open. And I remarked to the guy, I'm like, it'd be great if we had enough star players to do that. Oh, wait, we do. Why don't we do that? It ticks you off when you watch how both teams play, because I feel like, the star power is pretty similar. Okay, I know Rope's out, and if we had Hintz, it would probably be a lot closer, right? Obviously, but still, I feel like the star power is pretty close, and the fact that they're able to do that with their star players, where they threaten you with one, so it opens it up for another, and the fact that we don't seem to be able to do that is just so maddening as a Stars fan. But hopefully we can take it tonight. I'm excited. And then it worked out again this year. Last year, the way it worked was they went, off on, they went on, off, and then after game 3, they took 2 days off. That's happening again. So Thursday, Friday during the draft show, don't have to worry about having this, because I would have had the game on my phone right here. Because look, if it was a regular season game, I wouldn't care. The Rangers, I'll get alerts. That's all I'm not going to watch it while I'm doing the draft show. Stars playoff game, absolutely, we're going to watch it. Well, I'm going to watch it. I'm probably going to have it, down here on the board so that Chase can see it too, and we can, watch it. So, it'll be, because there are little kind of dead moments in the draft, and it would have been on Friday, would have been, day 2, which there are a little more lulls on day 2. Chase, is there anything really with the Mavericks? I mean, I guess you're just waiting. When's the lottery announcement?
Well, the lottery is May 20th, I believe.
Oh, God,
but the only news. Yeah, just a few weeks. A little less than a month. But
May 20th?
Yeah.
Chase, that's a month. 22nd. It's April 22nd. It's not 2 weeks.
No, I thought it was a little shorter than what. I think it's. Wait, is it May 20th or May 10th? Let me confirm that. NBA.
Anyway, Acuff just declared for the draft, by the way.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's May 10th. I was right. That's why I said 2 weeks. It's May 10th. Yeah, so 2
Yeah,
weeks.
I was like, bro, 2 weeks? That's not no.
Yeah. The only news for the Mavs is that they lost the coin flip, and they are 8th odds now. So the only difference between they only lost like 0.1% when it comes to getting in the top 4 in the number 1 pick. But the only thing now that's different than what they would have if they would have lost that game or won the coin flip, you can't get the 7th pick now. So their most likely selections are 8 and 9, but they have a 29% chance, or 30. Is it 32? No, I think it's 29% at top 4, and then 32% at 8 and 9. So we'll see. That's it.
Yeah, when we get down more to the finals, we'll talk more about the playoffs. Right now, it's just there's too many playoff games. There's 2 this week. We're not going to worry about the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs or the NBA playoffs simply because there's other stuff to talk about.
There's too many games. Yeah.
We'll get to it later. So moving to baseball real quick before we get to mock drafts and just pure draft talk, because that's going to be the bulk of this episode. Rangers won last night. They're 12-11. They're kind of hovering on that 500 range, but thankfully, the division's not playing pretty good either. Love seeing Houston down there at 10-16. That brings me joy.
I love it too, but they'll wake up, and they won today.
Yeah.
So
Rocker looked pretty darn good yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Had a little bit of trouble, but that's fine. I'm not looking for him to be the world beater number 3 overall pick that he was slotted. I'm looking for, can you just maybe a sub 4.5 ERA would be great. I know wins and losses don't matter, but 10 if he had 8 to 10 win, 10 wins, 4.1 ERA, I'd feel pretty good about his development at that point because of where he was last year. Lighters on the bump tonight.
Especially being the 5th guy on the team.
Absolutely. And then I think it'd be great if you could have these 5 going into the playoffs, because then if you made the playoffs, right, Rocker would go to the bullpen and it would give you a chance to maybe see him out of the bullpen.
Sure. I want to bring up to you real quickly as well.
Yeah.
If you have any concerns on Evaldi, if you're noticing anything different with his
No.
approach, with his stuff. I mean, I'm not worried yet because he's only had 4 starts, but in those 4 starts, he has looked very below average.
It's Evaldi. I think you have to feel confident in your top guys. It's just not clicking right now. It happens. I think that it's one of those things when you start off the season. If you start off the season, fine, and then you go through the slump, because most everyone's going to at least go through a slump at some point. And unless you're 1941 Joe DiMaggio and you have a 56 game hit streak, you're going to have some dead periods in the season. Right. The problem is when you start out in that period, it makes it look like the sky is falling. So, and again, I say with baseball, if we're at the end of May and he's still not really putting it together, then I'm going to start getting concerned, because it's like, okay, maybe is the regression hitting, right? I think he's under contract for 1 more year, so it's not like you're stuck in a multi-year contract that's just awful and sucks. And this could very well be a situation for, let's say, the Rangers sneak in the playoffs and he has an ERA just under 5 or something, didn't have a good year, but the playoffs start and he turns it on. Barry Zito was like that for the Giants. My dad's if my dad's watching, I need to go look see if he's watching, because he's gonna be screaming at me probably what year it was. I cannot remember what year it was for the Giants that Zito was. Whoa. Okay, whoa. I forgot that it was on Bluetooth, and so it's gonna start playing over the thing, which is not what we want. When my dad watches, he'll probably text me, it was this year, but it was late 2000s. Barry Zito's with the Giants. He was in an awful contract. He was one of the worst contracts they ever gave out. But in the playoffs, he turned it up to 11. I think it may have been 2010. I think it actually may have been 2010. He had a great playoff run. Either 10 or 12. He had a great playoff run and was a huge reason they won a World Series. So it's very possible that we get to playoffs and Evaldi's fine. I don't know. We just kind of have to wait and see. I'm not worried. DeGrom's looked like DeGrom, which is great. He's still Jacob DeGrom, and it's a joy to get him. It's a joy to get to watch him pitch every day, every 5th day. Sucks that tomorrow I'm gonna have to miss a DeGrom start because it's Thursday, and then they do play Friday against the A's, and then so I don't like the fact that we're playing all these teams so close together, but it's fine.
The Rangers also have a 9-game homestand.
The only thing I'm worried about, that Langford injury scares me, because you hear forearm and you immediately think, could he have done something to his elbow? And I know for hitters, it's a lot less of a problem, obviously, but it still knocks him out for I think 8 to 9 months as a hitter. His season's probably done. His season's done at that point. So that would really suck to have that happen. So I'm just kind of knocking here that it's just a little strain, and he'll be back maybe in a couple weeks at the most. That's kind of what we have to hope.
Yep, I agree.
All right, well, now we're gonna get to. Oh, by the way, Evan Carter, that catch was absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, it's
dude. Every other ballpark, that ball is just
he's such a great. He's such a
111 off the bat,
and he's so good. I mean, it's insane. I was talking to a buddy about scouting, and how I think it was Seth. I was talking to Seth. It wasn't a buddy. I was talking to Seth, and we were talking about how if you don't know who Seth is, watch the show tomorrow. You'll get a chance to see him if you haven't already seen him on the draft show. We're talking about scouting, and I'm like, scout. It's so hard nowadays in any sport for a player to go so unnoticed, but Evan Carter did because of COVID. Right, he didn't get a chance to play. His season was off, but we had a scout that had seen him because he lived in 2 towns over. So he had actually seen him. It was like, hey, we got to draft this kid. So ended up helping us win a World Series. So I don't care what he becomes after now, but he's just a phenomenal player. I mean, he if anything, he's a tough at bat, and he plays great defense. He's all you can ask for. Anyway, he gives he's a better defender than Leody Taveras was, and he's a significantly better at bat. than Tavares was.
But Tavares is swinging the bat well so far this year.
He is swinging the bat well. And then how about Jock? Every time I watch, it feels like he's walking. You know,
Yep.
he's having a much better season. Because the thing is and people, the unfortunate part for Rangers fans is that if he hit 230 this year, Rangers fans would still say, "Oh, he was a failure. He hit 230." I want to say his career average is. I want to say his career average is 237. So we're not talking about a guy that's a 290 hitter that had a really bad season. We're talking about a guy that's a career, I think, below 240 hitter. So if he hits 240, you're extremely excited about it. What were you gonna say?
News just came out, Langford, as we're talking about it.
Bad.
Underdog MLB. Wyatt Langford to be placed on IL with grade 1 flexor strain.
Does it go? How do the grades
grade
go?
1 is good. I think a grade 1 means that it's minor.
That's what I thought.
But he's going to the IL.
I mean, Jock's doing fine this year. He's hitting 235, which is fine. The home run totals you'd like to be obviously more than one, but a 355 OBP is nearly 20 points higher than his career OBP. So he's getting on. He's, to quote Billy Bean, he gets on base. He's getting on base. Well, now it's time for the fun segment, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the draft. It is, of course, a culmination of many, many hours of extremely hard work. It's going to be kind of cool because me and Donnell have gone through a ton of the corners, and I think he's coming over today again. We're going to go through a lot of some of the day 3 guys that maybe sneak into day 2. Be pretty cool. But, you know, it's this is after tonight. You know, we had a saying and in football, it was the hay's in the barn. That's what we said on Thursdays after practice. The hay's in the barn. You just got to come back tomorrow, and now, you know, and then Friday was payday. That's what we used to, you know, in the O-line room, we would, you know, we'd do our drills out in the field during warm-ups. Then we'd huddle up, and our coach would go, "All right, fellas, it's payday, right? You 4 days of practicing, 4 days of, you know, film and weights and all of the things, and, you know, you've deposited into the bank for 4 days. Now you get to get paid. Now you get to go have fun." And that's kind of what it feels like. Although it's not 4 days. It's more like, you know, 4 months of continuously putting in, and then getting a chance for 3 days just to have a ton of fun. And we'll be live for full night 1. Probably going to go live. I always say we're going to go live like 15, 20 minutes before. It usually ends up being like 5 minutes before. So I can't we will be on before the draft starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. My aim would be to be on around 6:45, 6:50, because I always overestimate how much draft talk I want to do beforehand. You know what I mean? Because then you're just ready to you're just ready for it to get started. So it'll probably be more like 6:50, probably. About 10 minutes of talking and everything, and then hopefully it gets started. We'll be live for night 2, which is 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll be live for the full night, rounds 2 and 3. I look, as much as I'd love to come in here and talk about day 3, no one would watch because it would be incredibly boring, because now you're out, you know, over the next 2 nights, there may be 4 or 5 guys that I did end up watching because they're not in my top, so they're not in my top 150. That happens usually every year. There's usually a few guys. I remember last year the first one was Tesla from the Lions. He was the first guy that went that I hadn't watched, or at least studied is the better word. And so,
well, you had a good year.
Yeah. So I'm saying, so I'm saying that, you know, it usually happens, but day 3 is filled with guys that I wasn't able to study but had to do, you know, still did extensive amounts of research on. So right now, as we currently stand, I don't know about any more second-round grades. I mean, very well could. I had one yesterday. Jalen Farmer, the guard out of Kentucky, who I didn't expect. So I didn't expect any more 2s. He ends up sliding to number 39 on my board right now, which is fairly high for a guy that I watched the week of the draft. We were at 17 first-round grades, which is the lowest number I've ever given out. The Cowboys have said they have 12, which it's always funny because it's most teams every year to year have between 10 and maybe 15 first-round grades. So and I'm a little higher on some of these guys, but The top of the grades go like this: Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, Jeremiah Love, Reuben Bain, Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy, David Bailey, Francis Malinois, and Sonny Styles. So that's the first 9. Then it's Carnell Tate at 10, Jordan Tyson at 11, Makai Lemon at 12, and then Mendoza, Thieneman, Mesidor, McNeil Warren, and Monroe Freeling to round out the first round grades.
Yes, you did get EMW in your first round.
Yes.
Let's go.
He is number 16 on the board from me. Love his versatility. He is a 2 inches shorter version of Nick Emanwari from last year.
Yeah, give me him at 20, please.
So, looking at my second round grades, I'm not going to go through all 126 right now, but that would take forever. Just to kind of go through my second round grades, we have I'm counting. I have, if it's not wanting to cooperate, okay, I'm not going to count, but I think I have 45 somewhere in there.
Okay.
The first 5 second-round grades are D'Angelo Pons, the corner out of Indiana, Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State, Spencer Fano, the tackle out of Utah, Venga Ioane, the guard out of Penn State, and Cassius Howell, the edge outside linebacker from Texas A&M. Some of my favorite players, just to kind of go through the second round, these are all the pet cats that I currently have. For context, Pons, Johnson, and Howell are pet cats. After that, it would be KC Concepcion at 29, Jacob Rodriguez at 32, Malachi Lawrence at 36, Jalen Farmer at 39, Keith Abney, of course, former teammate of mine, and it's going to be really cool for me and Donnell to be here on the show and hopefully get to see him get drafted. That'll be a pretty cool moment for us to see a guy that, and obviously he was in the, Donnell's a lot closer to him than I was. He played offense with me, and so I got to know him a little bit there, but Donnell played, DB with him. So Josiah Trotter at 48, Anthony Hill Jr. at 50, Antonio Williams at 51, who I think is the best pure route runner in the draft. And then rounding out the second round of pet cats is Chandler Rivers at 60. My second round grades go to 63 on my board. Third round grades, just kind of give you some highlights. Malik Muhammad is my top rated third round player. I don't see that changing. Huge fan of his game. I have a type, Chase, when it comes to corners.
Good.
I like the shorter, feisty guys that just play like their head's on fire. Those are the kind of guys I like. Keelan Rutledge, I think this is going to interest a lot of people. I do have my quarterback rankings. I only watched 4 quarterbacks because I had to kind of be economic with my top 150 because I knew I was going to watch 150 players. But I have to kind of pick who I think are going to be the top 150 before I watch them, which gets really freaking tricky trying to pick. And so, I only watched 6 tight ends because I'm like, I don't really see outside of these. And, the last guy I watched, I'm like, okay, I watched, the first 6 on pretty much everyone's board. And I'm like, if the other guys are worse than that 6th guy, yeah, they're not my top 150. There's no way. But quarterbacks, I have at Mendoza 1, obviously. But I do differ from the consensus here. I do have Garrett Nussmeier ahead of Ty Simpson. I have Garrett Nussmeier at 72 on the board. I have Simpson at 77. My reasoning for this is I think Nuss has got a better arm. I think he's a better processor. I think that he throws more with speed and touch when he needs to. And I think the biggest thing that helps his case is he had a bad year in 25, but it turns out, I don't know if you read this, he has a cyst or a benign growth or whatever it is, on his back, on his spine. And that's what affected his oblique. And if you know anything about, football and throwing, it's you need that oblique. It's like swinging a bat in baseball. It's like pitching. That oblique is very, very important. And that was bothering him the whole year. And they've said that, it's kind of dormant right now. It's not hurting him. If it does, we'll take it out, and he'll be 2-3 weeks of recovering from stitches, and then he'll be fine. So that's the good news, is that he's the reason he looked bad was because of an injury that isn't going to be a problem at the next level. So, and I just think he looks better than Simpson. I watched several LSU games. I watched several Alabama games. And every time I always thought Nussmeier looked better. I think he's got more traits. I think he's more developable. Simpson is probably a better runner. That's probably about it. Probably about all Ty Simpson does better. I don't think Ty Simpson is as good of a processor. I don't think he makes Nuss is a little bit more of a gunslinger, but I think it's because Simpson is too dang afraid to throw the ball down the field. And so that's kind of an interesting one. And then, of course, I have Drew Aller in the fourth as my last quarterback that I watched. He's currently 119 on the board for me.
I saw a new report today saying that Carson Beck is expected to go second round and earlier than people expect.
Yeah, that's from Tom Pelissero. That's a smokescreen. There's no way. I would Chase, if someone takes Carson Beck on day 2, all 4 of us are going to be laughing our butts off at that team. We're kind of rounding out the third round because there's a couple guys I want to talk about. Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, true 4.28 speed. His highlight reel rivals that of Tavon Austin's highlight reel, which is about as high praise I think I can give. Obviously, you don't scout a guy on his highlight reel, but he's a burner, man. Damon Claiborne, he's smaller kind of guy, but he's super fast running back out of Wake Forest. Huge fan. This is a Cowboy. The last 2 guys are Cowboys targets. Actually, no. Back into my third round, Grayson Halton, defensive tackle from Oklahoma. Love the way he plays. Love how he plays like a Tasmanian devil. Last 2 guys here are Cowboys targets. Caleb.
Guess them.
Okay, you guess.
Well, you said go ahead and go with the first one.
Caleb Ilarms, or the linebacker from TCU. He's been mocked to us multiple times, kind of in full 7-round mocks. Love the way he plays. He's not as good of a processor, so you're not drafting him to be your Mike. He would be, okay, if you don't get Styles, if you took him at 92, I think you feel pretty good about that. He's an exceptional athlete. He can line up as, kind of Will Sam, but he can also come down on the line. And in one of the games that I watched, he had like 2 sacks. I think it was Arizona State. And he can rush the passer a little bit. And so he gives you the flexibility, and I think that would appeal to Christian Parker. And I think that if we got him at 112 in the fourth, that would be tremendous value for me. And who do you think the last guy is? I don't think you're going to guess him.
Is it a defensive player?
No, it's a receiver.
Oh, it's a receiver.
You're not guessing him. I'm going to tell you right now. Because I've seen him graded elsewhere, and everyone has him as a day 3 guy. I have him at 90 on my board as a late 3.
I don't know.
Malik Benson from Oregon. Now,
okay.
Obviously the Junior Adams connection there. Benson is so much like one of my favorite players in the NFL, which is Rashid Shaheed. Shaheed has a really kind of niche role. Shaheed's not going to always give you those grinding, tough yards, right? Like maybe a George Pickens would, or maybe someone like a Khalil Shakir might for the Bills, right? Where he's not going to be a vertical threat. He's not going to be a true flip the field type of guy, but he can get you those tough yards. Benson might get 2 catches a game, but he's going to flip the field. He's got true 4.37 game changer speed. He can return kicks. I know that you've got Turpin. I'm going to say it like this. If Turpin ever got hurt and Benson had to step in, I don't think that's a downgrade. I don't think it's an upgrade. I think it's a lateral move. I think he's just go watch the punt return against USC. But there are about 4 guys that have the angle on him, and he just outruns all of them. I love the way he plays. I love the guys that can flip the field like that. Yes, he might not have the big-time 1,000-yard impact, right? But if you're like, hey, we are kind of stagnant on offense right now, and we really need an explosive play. They like running cover 3. Let's try to run this little post route to Benson, get him open, and see if we can flip the field. Oh, look, 55-yard, reception. Now we're, on the good side of the field, and we can go try to get some points. That's what he does. I love the way he plays. I've seen him mock to us on day 3. I'll be at my house watching it. I will be running around in a circle doing a war dance if we get Malik Benson on day 3. The reason I'm saying his name for the Cowboys is because we met with him. It sounds like we're very heavily interested, and I'm really hoping we can get him. Some other guys that I like, just to go real quick, I know I'm kind of taking up a lot of time here, but Dalen Everett's my highest-rated 4th-round player right now, followed by Max Llewellyn and Darrell Jackson Jr. Llewellyn's the edge out of Iowa. Jackson's the interior defensive lineman from Florida State. Big fan of Kevin Coleman from Missouri, the receiver. Looks exactly like Jaden Reed. I mean, plays like him, looks like him. Everything about him is very much like that. Small school guy that I think is fun is Caleb Proctor, no relation to Caden.
Okay.
He's a defensive tackle from southeastern Louisiana. But they played LSU this year, and I was able to get my hands on a copy of the game, and he's all over the field as a defensive tackle. He's making plays. He sacked Nussmeier. He's doing so much, and so he's kicking the crap out of SEC competition. I'm not worried about you transitioning into the NFL. I like guys like Demetrius Crownover, the tackle from A&M. I think A&M's got a lot of really fun players in this draft. So does Georgia Tech. And everyone that knows, Donnell's heard this a million times from me. I love the way Georgia Tech plays. I love their toughness, and so I typically have a soft spot for Georgia Tech players. And then last thing here is currently the last, again, we have 24 guys to watch today. The rest of them are offensive linemen, so some guards and centers and one tackle. Still have a few linebackers to go through, still have some corners to go through and safeties, but everyone else is watched. All the corners, receivers, tight ends, running backs watched. All the edges and interior, all the defensive linemen are watched, edges and D linemen. Now, I know that Harold Perkins is kind of getting projected as more of an outside linebacker edge guy, not an off-ball linebacker. So you can kind of put him in that category, but we'll have to see when I watch him tonight. So
he was one of the guys I thought you were going to say. So
is there anyone you would like to know my opinion on before we get started with our mocks?
I had mocked him in my Cowboys draft in the 3rd round, and I've seen a lot of other people mock him as well. Romello Height, edge out of Texas Tech.
I like Mello. He is kind of built like Slenderman. He's kind of, he's not really tall either, but he's real lanky, can bend, good motor, does those things. But, you also have to wonder, okay, he's playing with Lee Hunter. He's playing with all 4 of those defensive linemen are going to be in the NFL next year, right? You've got Height. You've got Skylar Gills-Howard, who I have a UDFA grade on him, but he's probably going to get picked up by a team, right? David Bailey on the other side and Lee Hunter. So, I mean, you're playing on a stacked front, but he's bendy, high motor guy. I think I have him as a 2. Right now, he is currently 52 on my board. So, remember, the Cowboys don't have a 2nd-round pick. So, a lot of those 2 guys I don't see us getting. I'll tell you that for 92, some targets that I would say, Malik Muhammad, if you wanted to go the corner route, if you wanted to go the edge route, Jayshon Barham, who's an off-ball linebacker converted to an edge from Michigan.
The Michigan guy,
Don't
right?
scout the helmet. Don't scout the helmet. He plays like a bat out of hell, Chase. I'm telling you, he's not the slow, sluggish Mozzie Smith. Kieran Crawford, another kind of guy from Auburn that would fit that. Derek Moore from Michigan. Moore and Barham are both really, really good. They both popped on tape. Because it's funny, I watched Moore first, and I kept going, who's that number 1? He keeps making plays when Moore's not making plays. Turns out it's Jayshon Barham. So, that happens when you're watching film. You're like, who the hell is that? And then, it's the guy I need to watch. Well, I want to get a look at him. So, all right, let's get started with our mocks. Now, I'm
excited.
Because we're doing the Cowboys, I'm going to go with something that I don't know if you did Cowboys mocks, but I did. So really quickly, because we're kind of having a conversation about them, I'm going to go through those 2, and then we'll do the NFL mock. All right? Cool?
Go ahead.
Oh, Alabama just extended Kalen DeBoer. Interesting.
I saw that, yeah. And also, I sent you something, too, about Langford. He said he doesn't expect to miss more than 10 days.
Yeah. So 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
I did do 2 Cowboys mocks. One where we do no trades and one where we do trades. In both scenarios, the 1st-round pick is... Well, no, I won't say this. The no trade one, the no fun one, at pick 12, the defensive board was wiped clean. There was no one to take, and I'm doing no trades. And there's been a lot of smoke about this guy going to us at 12 if he can get there. And I know that it's going to make people lose their minds because he's not a defensive player. But Jordan Tyson in this offense would be really, really fun. And they've said they're not going to offer Pickens a long-term extension this season. So it would be something in the offseason. Now, I think Tyson gives you really good insurance there. It gives you good leverage. It means that if you lose Pickens, you get that comp pick for him, you feel a lot less bad about your receiver room. What do you think about that? If the defensive board is picked clean.
I definitely have not ruled out the possibility of
Absolutely
them
not.
taking an offensive player. And I wouldn't be necessarily upset depending on who they select. If
I
it's
love
an
Tyson.
offensive player.
I love Tyson and Tate. Both those guys at 12 would be, I would be ecstatic with either of them because I think they're both really, really good receivers. Tyson would be the number.
I would be very happy. I would be very happy with one of those two receivers at 12 if that's what it took. Because that means we'd have 3 unbelievable receivers.
Absolutely.
And sure, the defense might not be able to get a stop every game or so, but you can score 50 points a game if everybody's healthy. And sometimes that is, they say defense wins championships, but if you have the best receiving core and a great offense, you just outscore everybody. So
I want to make this comment that I think Tyson, I don't know if he'd have been the best receiver in the class for me if he didn't have the injury flags, but he'd probably still be behind Tate because I don't think Tyson gets off press as well as Tate does. But because Tate's going to give you those gritty yards, whereas Tyson's more of the try to get him in open space and let him run. What would make Tyson really good in this offense right now is the obvious. You've got 2 all-pro receivers above him. So you're worried about Lamb and Pickens. Your third corner is going to be on Jordan Tyson. He's going to feast.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's then at pick 20. This is one that I've seen a few times. I think if he gets there, I would not hate this at 20. At 12, I'm not a fan of this because the value's not right. At 20, I'm fine with it. I'm not in love with it, but I think Christian Parker could sell me on it, and that is Keldrick Falk, the edge out of Auburn. Falk, who is getting his my write-up pulled up here, 6'5", 276, nearly 34.5-inch arms, plays with power. He's got good lateral movement for a man of his size. He is immediately an elite run defender in the NFL. Okay. He can align, whether there's the 4-eye in Parker's scheme, he can line up out at the 5 technique. His weaknesses, for the first time, one of the few guys I have 4 weaknesses for. Raw pass rushing technique. The production was up and down. His first step burst is average, and he does have trouble bending the edge on outside rushes, or bending the corner. He's raw. He's 20 years old. He's more of the ball of clay that you want to get your hands on. Auburn played a funky scheme that most of the time was not asking him to go be a great pass rusher. Now, in the few reps where he did have to be a pass rusher, it wasn't always great. But you could sell me on it at 20 because I think his floor is not terrible. My comp for him is Dietrich Wise, although you could probably talk me into someone maybe a little bit bigger, maybe more of like a Darius Robinson type. He's a versatile guy. You can line him up all over the formation. I would be fine at 20. Wouldn't love it. Currently, he sits number 24 on my board, but I'd be okay with it. Chase.
Yeah, I'm here.
I was just thinking what you thought.
Yeah. I feel like just because of what Jared has said when it comes to no red shirts and wanting guys that are immediately ready to make an impact. And yes, like you said, he can make an impact immediately in the run game.
Yeah.
But I feel like with how much they've put into stopping the run up the middle, I feel like they don't. I feel like they are looking for more pass rush when it comes to their edge rushers as they are run stopping.
Now the rest of these. Oh, sorry.
So I don't know how I feel about Falk. I know it's a very high possibility that they do end up taking him one of their picks. Like you, I'd be very upset at 12. Might as well, if you're going to take him with your first pick, at least trade back from 12.
Yeah, I'm in there. I'm in with that. Yeah. All right. So the rest of it, I'm just going to kind of go through it. Malik Muhammad, kind of talk about him. I have him at 92. I have Caleb Alarms Orr at 112. I have Malik Benson at 152. So 3 big guys that I love. I got George Gums, the edge from Florida at 177. He's a good run defender, does his job, selfless guy, not as much production. Then I have DJ Campbell, who'd be a depth guard from Texas, and then Ahmad Moses, someone that we've had some interest in. He's a safety from SMU. In the mock where I trade, at 12, the board got picked again, so I went with Tyson again. I traded back. Caden Proctor was on the board for the Browns, and they didn't take a tackle at 6, so I had them be the ones that trade up for a tackle at 24. Mm-hmm. So we trade back to 24, and we get pick 70 in the 3rd round. At 24, I had him take Malachi Lawrence, the edge out of UCF. I think he
Yep.
would fit Parker's scheme. Obviously, I think, we hired a UCF, I think, linebackers coach. Can't remember his name right now. Then at 70, you'll like this. I went back-to-back Longhorns here. I went Anthony Hill Jr., super
I love
twitchy,
it. I
fast
just don't think he'll be
linebacker.
there.
And then Malik Muhammad at 92. At 112, Zakee Wheatley fell. I have a 2 on him, so I'd
Yes.
love that. I have DeMonte
Love that.
Capehart at 152, pretty good defensive tackle from Clemson. Malik Benson at 177 again. DJ Campbell at 180 again. And another offensive lineman, I double-dipped. I went Keegan Trost, the tackle from Mizzou. So, I'm kind of, because I have a high 5 on Trost. He's got short arms. He's probably going to be a guard. So, you kind of getting 2 cracks at replacing Brock Hoffman. But it's good technique. His feet are a little clunky, more of a phone booth guy. But those are my Cowboys mocks. Now we're going to get into now we're going to kind of go fast. I don't want to spend too much time on it because we've talked about this ad nauseum, right? But here we go. I've got Mendoza at 1. You probably got Mendoza at 1.
Actually, no, yes. I have Mendoza at 1.
I do have Arvell Reese at 2. I'm going to stick with what has been reported throughout the draft process, and I'm going to stick with that.
I think Arvell Reese is the correct pick, the obvious the second pick for me. I've had him at my second pick, all 3 of my mocks
Bailey?
so far. But from what I've read, and I think with Aaron Glenn on the hot seat, I think he wants a guy that's going to make a more immediate impact quicker. I have him going David Bailey at 2.
At 3, Jeremiah Love. Just take a BPA for the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals. I don't do trades here. I think the Cardinals won out. I think this is a spot for the Chiefs to come up and get somebody. But for right now, it's just Jeremiah Love.
Right. No trades with me as well.
Yep.
But since he's on the board for me, number 3, Arvell Reese.
Remember, this is also the mock that I take very seriously and that I look to get picks right. I have
same with me.
David Bailey at 4 to the Titans. I think Robert Saleh, he's going to fit that scheme pretty well to come off the edge.
I got Jeremiah Love to the Titans.
Now, here's where if I nail this, I'm going to be tooting my own horn. I've heard about it. It's been some chatter, and I think it could be real. So I went with it in my mock. I have the Browns not going Spencer Fano, not going Francis Mauigoa, and
right?
not going – oh, Giants. My bad. Caleb Downs at 5. I break my heart.
Yeah. I know they're going to get him.
Yeah,
so.
Because Harbaugh's taken 3 safeties in his. He took a lot of safeties in his team. He values the position. He's gonna go Downs at 5. So I'm preparing myself for that scenario.
I have Sonny Styles at 5.
Browns at 6. I have him going Caden Proctor. I think that it's a very Browns move to kind of go off the consensus there at 6 with Caden Proctor.
Wow. That's not necessarily a reach. It's just when it comes to the boards.
Yeah. No, I've heard it. I've heard the chatter about it. I think it's real. I'm gonna. It feels like a Browns. There are several picks in here where I'm just like, this is what my gut's telling me to do.
Wow. Well, for me, I have the Browns going Carnell Tate.
Yeah. 7, I have Tate going to the Commanders. They need offense. They need everything, really, but they have the offense, really, I think would be good for Daniels.
I have Caleb Downs. Going.
Also, I'm going to do research either tonight or probably tomorrow. I'm going to look at the last 5 drafts, and I'm actually very curious. I want to see when a team had drafted – I know this isn't pertaining to the Commanders, but when a team drafted a quarterback in the first round the previous year, what position did they go the next year? And I'm going to bet that at least 75% of the time it was an offensive player. Which is why I think the Giants go offense at least once in their picks. But at 8 to the Saints, I have Mekhi Lemon, kind of off the board there.
I have Reuben Bain.
At 9, I have Reuben Bain to the Chiefs.
I got Mansour Delane.
Yeah. At 10, Giants seem very interested in him. I have Jordan Tyson.
I got Jordan Tyson at 10 as well.
Yeah. Francis Mauigoa at 11 to the Dolphins. I think that he's one of those high floor. They just need good football players. It's hard to go wrong with him here.
I have Mauigoa to the Dolphins as well.
I have Mansour Delane at 12 to the Cowboys in this mock. And the other mock, it was computer generated, so I didn't have any control over who fell to us. Both Styles and Delane were on the board for me. I think Styles is getting overrated by the draft community because of the Underwear Olympics. I think that with Delane, we have the corners coach that we have recruited him to Virginia Tech. I think it makes too much sense to go for him at 12 with the way the board fell for me.
I hope you are right, and I am doing circles in the studio
Yeah.
tomorrow if that's what happens.
Yeah.
But for me, everybody's off the board. I know there's
Yeah.
reports saying that he might not even make it. He might not even be in round, selected in round one.
Yeah.
But I feel like, with no trades in this draft,
Yeah.
he's too good of a talent to pass up on if he ends up hitting. I have the Cowboys going Jermon McCoy at 12.
Yeah. It's yeah, I mean, it would be very interesting to get 12 with the knee and finding out now that there's a new injury that he has with his knee that we didn't know about before, and it sounds like that he has some type of bone problem in his knee, which is causing teams to kind of back off of him.
Right. I don't think that I don't think he's going to be the pick here. For my other picks in my mock, and with no trades in this mock, I just felt like he was the only guy there that would that fit for me. So
yeah, no, very fair.
Trust me, I want Thieneman at 12. If that's the case.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see what Dallas ends up doing at 12 if the way the board falls. Now,
just have to get lucky.
The next pick was pretty easy because I know that the Rams are a pretty complete football team. But this is the pick they got. Was it last year in exchange for moving up?
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta moved up, so they get their pick. And I think this is just a value pick. I think with Sonny Styles being on the board, I think the Rams just can't pass up a talent like that, and they'll find a spot for him.
Wow. I hope your board is 100% accurate. That would be amazing if Styles and Delane are on the board at 12. But for me, I have them going Spencer Fano, tackle out of Utah.
I think it's also worth mentioning about the Ty Simpson thing and that he's being mocked as high as 3 to the Cardinals, and just where does he go? Very interesting to see. I'm hoping
Look,
that 5
we're hoping for that.
That's why I thought the Giants trade was good for the Cowboys, because I think it guarantees an extra offensive player that goes in the top 10, because I think that they're going to go. I think that at 5 they were going to be conflicted between offense and defense. Now I think they're not conflicted. Now I think they go with one on both sides.
Well, I saw reports saying that they are huge fans of Tyson, and they're not sure if he'll be there at 10.
Yeah, they might go with him at 5.
They're considering him at 5.
I have Venga Ioane at 14 to the Ravens. I've stayed with that one the entire process, and I'm sticking with it here in the final mock.
So have I, and I have the same.
I have Kenyon Sadiq at 15 to the Bucks. They lost Mike Evans. Godwin's been injured. I love Igbuka, but he just they're going to need someone else to kind of threaten you in the receiving game, and I think Kenyon Sadiq's a perfect weapon. I think it's good value for them at 15.
I agree. I think I turned you on Sadiq because I had Sadiq my last couple mocks.
Well, I have him at 23 on the board, so it's not like I have him way off. I just, not...
No, I know. But I think I've had Sadiq on my mocks at 15 the last couple of times, and I think you were a big fan of that.
Yeah. Who do you have at 15? Sadiq?
Yeah, I got Sadiq as well. Yep.
16, I have Omar Cooper going to the Jets. I think that this would be
that was my sleeper pick.
A pretty good pick for them. I think that it makes a ton of sense, and it really kind of shakes up the receiver board too.
I like that. I just have Mekhi Lemonsaw on my board, so Jets take Lemon at 16.
At 17, I think the Lions, they have an interesting choice here between 2 tackles. I think it's between Fano and Freeling, and I think Freeling fits the Dan Campbell style a little bit more than Fano does, so I have him going Freeling.
I have going Freeling as well.
18, I've stayed the same the entire time. It's Dylan Thieneman. He player comp is Harrison Smith. It fits like a glove. It might fit almost too well, but we'll just have to see.
I have Thieneman as well.
19, I think the Panthers have to finally admit they made a mistake with Xavier Legette. I think it's time to get another receiver. I think it's time to get someone very different from Tet, and that's to go Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M.
Ooh, I like it. I have them just in a weak division, needing some veteran presence on that defense, and just someone who can make an immediate impact. I got them going Akeem Mesidor.
Yep. 20, Dallas Cowboys, Keldrick Falk. It made too much sense. I thought about Mesidor there. I thought about Cassius Howell. I thought about a couple other guys, but I ended up settling and thinking that Keldrick Falk would be the better pick there at 20.
Well, I have them going C.J. Allen here, addressing linebacker.
Yeah, you've been pretty consistent with that one too, I know.
Yep.
Would be fine with it. I'd prefer it in a trade back because I have him 38 on the board, so I definitely prefer him in a trade back scenario, but,
What
20,
out of it?
21, I think the Steelers, just the receiver board got picked. I think they'd rather just beef up the offensive line. I think Spencer Fano is too good of a value for them to pass up here, especially if Aaron Rodgers is coming back, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have been going Caden Proctor.
22 to the Chargers. The Chargers got absolutely they got absolutely stiffed on this board. There was I spent like 10 minutes thinking about I'm serious. I mean, I was reading other mocks like who could go here. The offensive line board got picked, and I don't know if they're going to want to go Ionacher. It's not Ionacher. It's something else. Hold on. I honestly can't. I remember it. It's something. It's. I keep wanting to say Ionacher because that's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like.
Right. That's what I've been saying too.
It is dead time. It's Ihanachor or Ihanachor.
Ihanachor.
Okay, that's Ihanachor. Okay, Maxi. Okay. So I thought about that, but I did end up giving them Akeem Mesidor at 22. I think that Harbaugh just goes, look, we just need a guy that can come in and contribute right away, and I don't see anyone that really fits better than that on the board currently than Akeem Mesidor.
Well, for me, I do have them going O-line still. I have them going a little bit down the board, and I have them going Emmanuel Pregnon.
Yeah, it would be a reach, but it would definitely fit a need. I have Ihanachor going the next pick, 23 to the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a full offensive line right now. I think they know that Lane Johnson's time is ending, and I think they want to draft the future.
I agree with that, but I also, and my perspective here is that they are going to lose A.J. Brown to New England this in a month or so.
I thought about that too.
I have them going Omar Cooper Jr. here at 23.
Because Denzel Bostom's on the board. It's kind of funny how I thought about Ihanachor for 22. He goes 23. And then the next guy at 24 to the Browns, I thought about at 23, which was Denzel Boston, the receiver from Washington. He's pretty much the last of the first-round potential receivers. I don't see anyone past – I have Concepcion at 29, Cooper at 30, Boston at 35. The next guy is Jeremy Bernard at 49. Yeah. For me, so I really don't see anyone else. Maybe if a team loves him, but I really just don't see it happening outside of Boston.
Well, for me, the Browns, they went their receiver round in at their first pick at 6 with Cardinal Tate. So I have them getting some protection here. I got them going Blake Miller at 24.
Yeah, I mean, Blake Miller is not one of my favorite players in the draft. I have him falling out of the first round. He was my first third-round grade. He's all the way at pick number 69 on my board. Great feet, but he has no power. He has no anchor, which worries me. I think he's Terrence Steele. Decent starter, but nothing special. Mm-hmm. At 25, the Bears need pass rush, and I don't see anyone else. He might be the second or third best pure pass rusher in the draft, and that's Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M. He screams off the edge. I know he's not exactly a 4-3 fit, but they just need guys that can get after the quarterback. And again, he fits that to a T.
Well, I have the Bears going EMW here. Being a good fit for them. I know they're looking for a safety replacement because they did lose Kevin Byard, right?
I think so. I don't know. I'll have more of that information tomorrow. That'll be. I go through more of that tomorrow, not today.
I think they did lose some significant piece in the secondary, so I think EMW is a great fit
26.
for Dennis Allen.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Here's a guy that's getting mocked as the second corner to come off the board, and I think he comes off here at 26, and that is Chris Johnson, the corner from San Diego State. I am a huge fan of him. I'm a little worried about the speed element to his game. He's not as fast, but he's so technical. He's so patient. He's got great instincts. I have him at 19 on my board. He's one of my favorite players in the draft. And the way that the Bills want to play defense and the way that new defensive coordinator Jim Leonard is going to want to play defense is very similar to the Broncos style, which is get after the quarterback and make sure we cover on the back end. And I think that Chris Johnson, being the technician that he is going to fit what Jim Leonard wants to do at his cornerback spot. You know, Christian Benford is fine, but Max Harrison, was injured last year, was a first-round pick. Tre'Davious White is gone. They kind of brought him back and got the band back together. they desperately still need help at corner, and I think this would be the best option for them because they address receiver with DJ
Right.
Moore. So I think that this would be a great scenario for the Bills that Johnson is able to fall down there to 26 to them.
I like that. I have them going defense as well. I just have them going with, I think, a need that they, with the injuries they had last year with Ed Oliver and just the inconsistent defensive line play. I have them going Caden McDonald out of Ohio State.
I have him in a few picks. I have Caleb Lomu at 27. I think that the Niners are ready to draft the heir apparent to Trent Williams. Lomu has some development that needs to happen anyway. I think you could probably plug him in on the right side, get him learning, get him used to the NFL speed. I'm a little worried about he's very similar to Blake Miller. I'm a little worried about the anchor, but what I'm more worried about is I didn't always see him finish blocks. With offensive linemen, I like the guys that seem to relish putting guys in the dirt. I never saw that with him, which kind of, as just an O-lineman guy, that worries me because you don't seem to enjoy the physical aspect of this. But he's got pretty good technique. I think that, if they teach, I think he fits. The Niners don't care about putting you in the dirt. They care more about the spacing, the zone run concepts. I think Lomu would be a pretty good fit for that, which is why I had him going over Blake Miller.
For me, I had them going Keldrick Folk. Not much to say about it. Just
I think what's funny is like the Mike Hill. They're going to try to like repent for the Mike Hill Williams sins by drafting this year's Mike Hill Williams.
That was kind of my approach. Yeah.
28 to the Texans. I have Caden McDonald. I think the Texans would love to get better in offensive line, and I did consider Keelan Rutledge here. I considered Pregno, and I considered Jalen Farmer. But I ultimately decided on Caden McDonald. I think that they can, we know they can get after the quarterback. We know that they have good run fits on the back end, or not the back end, but, linebackers and their safeties coming downhill, and they can cover their butts off. But they really don't have that true, I don't think, I need to look at the roster again, but I didn't really see that true big run stuffing, big dude in their interior. And I think McDonald is the best run defender in the draft, especially from a defensive tackle perspective. And I think that he would fit kind of a more niche need for them. But man, he'd be fun with Danielle Hunter, and he can push the pocket a little bit, but he's such a great run defender.
I have them going Max Eheniachor.
Ehanichor.
I'm not going to get that right.
Just sit there and look at it and just keep saying it, and eventually you'll ingrain it in your brain that it's Ehanichor.
Ehanichor.
Max
Max Ehanichor.
Max Ehanichor.
Up that line.
Yeah. 29, the Chiefs repeat history. Last year, Josh Simmons fell to them. He was my best tackle on the draft, but because of the MCL, he falls. This year, another top player on my board falls all the way down to 29. And that is Jermod McCoy at 29 to the Chiefs. I've heard that Jermod McCoy could have a very Will Johnson-like slide where he could slide all the way to the second round. I don't think the Chiefs allow that to happen. I think they go with him here at 29. They played a lot of they have a very similar defense to Spags. A lot of the cover 3 stuff, a lot of the quarters. They have a very similar defense to what Spags runs. I think McCoy would be able to slide in. It's just as long as the medicals check out. I think the Chiefs would love to get him there, and not just because he's a great player, but there'd be back-to-back years where they got value picks based on injuries. And if you miss on those guys, it hurts. But if you hit, the hit rate is, you get a home run with those guys, right? These are top of the draft players that you're getting at a discount because of the injuries.
Who did you have Kansas City going with at 9?
I had them going with Ruben Bain.
Okay, so I had a couple mocks where I was trying to figure out or a couple just attempts where I was thinking the same thing you did with McCoy falling there,
and they need offense.
But then having them go Jordan Tyson at 9.
Yeah, they need offense, but just the offensive board didn't make a ton of sense at the time.
For me, though, I had them going Delane at 9, but Denzel Boston's still on my board, so I have them going Denzel Boston at 29.
That makes sense. I have your boy, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at 30 to the Dolphins. I think that they're just in draft good football players territory. They have the worst roster in football. You have 2 first-round picks. Draft the 2 best players on your board, regardless of position, and go forth. I actually thought about Sonny Styles at 11, but the reason I stopped was because they had Jordan Brooks. But I'm still in that. I think Styles would make sense there because I think The Dolphins are, again, just take the best guy because we need guys everywhere. We're not
Yep.
really set at any position. Maybe quarterback. That's it. Right? Just kind of a running back, maybe. But A-Chain might want out. So anyway, 30 for you.
Who knows? I have been going Avion Terrell at 30.
Yep. I have him sliding out, but that would make sense. I think I had him in my last mock. And I will bring up my previous mocks. Like, if I got one right, I will mention it. Like, hey, I got this right on mock 2.0, but, like, it's not a huge, it's not this, my pride comes in when I get these ones right. And the last two are edge, outside linebacker type players. I have R. Mason Thomas at 31 to replace Kayvon Chason for the defending AFC champion New England Patriots. I think Seth should be pretty happy with that one. I have him at 28 on the board, so it's a pretty solid value right where I think he should go. Technician, really good get off. He's, there's some stiffness there, but he's a really good pass rusher. He would fit that Mike Vrabel scheme perfectly, I think.
I think Seth would be happy with my pick too, because I think we're leaning in the same direction. I have them going TJ Parker.
See, I'm not as high on Parker. I have him at 40. I'm not as high on him. But him and Peter Woods were difficult evaluations because the entire Clemson program was down last year. So it's just how much of it was just the vibes were bad and how much of it is they regressed as players. And at 32,
it's kind of crazy though. Speaking on Peter Woods real quickly, kind of like Peter Woods was a top 12 pick for me. I think mock 1.
Yeah.
And now he's on my first round.
Top 10. Oh, he's sorry, top 10. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is Peter Woods was a top 10 guy coming into the NCAA. I got like 4 hours sleep last night, and I'm working off of one Red Bull, not sugar-free Red Bull, because I don't want the sugar intake is just absolutely ridiculous. And I have another one waiting in my fridge for me later tonight. So I'm running on Red Bull right now, bro. That's why I shouted that because I feel really tired. At 32, I have Malachi Lawrence. I think they lost Boye Mafe, if I'm not mistaken, and I think that Malachi Lawrence makes a ton of sense here for Seattle. Seattle's again. I could actually see them maybe shocking people and going to Jadarian Price because they need a running back. But did you do it? Did you do Jadarian Price?
I went Jadarian Price at 32.
Wow.
Yes, I did. I was gonna say something.
Wow.
I don't think you're gonna have the guy I had at 32, and I was gonna go into
No, I guessed him. Yeah.
they lost K9. They lost K9. Charbonnet's coming off an ACL.
Look, I have a 2 on Price. He's my second. I think he's the second best back in the draft. I think it's just they're in value territory. Just try to get value for what you get, and that's fine. All right.
So for me at 32, I got Jadarian Price.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year. In around 24 hours' time, we will be getting ready to prep for the show. In more about 26 hours' time, we'll be getting ready to go live. We hope that you join us tomorrow night for night 1. We hope that you join us Friday night for night 2. It's going to be a full panel. We got everybody coming into town. Gonna have Chase.
I will be there.
I'm gonna have Seth, and I'm gonna have Donnell. So it's gonna be a full 4-man panel. I'm really excited for this draft. I feel really confident in my evaluations. I feel really confident that it's going to be a good night for us Cowboy fans. We got a chance.
I hope so.
We got a chance to potentially had 2 impact players. I'm really excited about that. I think that we have a chance to maybe move back, maybe get an extra pick. It's gonna be insanely interesting. We will talk significantly more detail about things tomorrow, and we hope that you guys join us. So we will see you guys tomorrow.
See y'all tomorrow.
See ya.